Hello and welcome back to the Cars.co.za YouTube channel. Today we've got a battle for passenger carrying supremacy. It's Kia Carnival versus Ford Tourneo Titanium. And before we get into intricacies of practicality, engine performance, value for money, let me just remind you that Cars.co.za, we're not just a YouTube channel. We've got 85,000 vehicles for sale. So whether it's a hatchback or a double cab or everything in between, they are for sale. Right, who's going to win in the battle of Ford Tourneo Titanium versus Kia Carnival? My name's David Taylor and welcome to my OnlyVans. Cars.co.za. Right, so what have we got here today? This is the facelifted Kia Carnival. It was updated in the middle of 2025. There's now two derivatives available. Pricing starts from just over R1,000,000. Now, as a reminder, the Carnival is underpinned by the same platform as the Sorento and a number of other big Hyundais. So while it looks like a bus, underneath it is an SUV. Now the Ford in titanium spec looks really plush. How nice are these wheels? This grille is so intricate and detailed. And yes guys, it is a bus, but it really looks upmarket. Now a reminder, do you remember the deal with the Ranger and the Amarok, Ford and VW working together? That same arrangement is applied here, and the Volkswagen Transporter T7 is basically this car underneath. But guys, forget about design and handling prowess and just how fast these are. The reason you're watching this video is all about the seating and the practicality. Right, let's go play with some seats. Right, Ford bus second row test. Now before I do anything, you've probably noticed that this seat is facing the other way. Don't go anywhere, I will explain how awesome these seats are. But right, let's get into the practicality side. I'm 1.9 meters tall, 100 kilos. Look how much knee room I have. I can actually stretch out. This is really nice. Lots of headroom as well. But also, it's not just about the space. It's also a cleverly thought out interior. I've got USB-C charging ports there. There's two over there. There's two over there. That's 6 USB charging ports for the second and third row passengers. That's amazing. I've got individual ventilation. I've got my own climate control back here. I've got privacy blinds. It's really, really awesome. But guys, the whole thing about the Ford bus is the seat flexibility and versatility. Now, let me show you some party tricks. So we'll fold down this seat. And now this becomes a desk, and I've got cup holders over here. And now the versatility, I can send this all the way back. I can lock over there. And now I can jump into this seat. And when I got into this car for the first time, I looked at this USB port and I thought, that's a bit strange. Why would you put a USB port there? Because I'm sitting right here, like this. So simple, so brilliant. Now, before I get into the Ford bus third row practicality, I just want to point out that these seats have actually got one more party trick. Yes, you can slide them up and down and you can turn them around, but you can also remove them. So my use case scenario would be all you mountain bikers, you could take the middle row of seats out and put your bike straight in. If you have a canoe or a kayak, you can also slide that in as well. Let me show you how simple it is to remove one of these seats. Simply fold it down, that locks in place, grab the release toggle, wait for the additional click. There it is. And out it comes. This is, it's not light. I can do my exercise on it. It's about 15 kilos, but there you have it. Look how much room for activities you have. And it's just a simple case of putting it back, lining it up. It makes the click and done. Right, time to evaluate the third row of seats in the Ford bus. The setup we've gone for today is corporate meetings. So this is where the circling back and the synergy takes place, or as I like to call it, the good old family road trip. And I'd like to talk about how much space I have here. This is so rad. We've set the two middle seats as tables. There's so much practicality here. There's a cup holder. There's a cup holder. We've got a lot of props for this trip. We've got the iPad over here so we can Netflix. And yeah, sorted. Another thing we've discovered while filming is that it's very easy to charge your device, and Ford has actually put in an integrated phone holder. So we'll use one of the 6 USB-C ports in the car. I will just put that over there, and then I can recline my seats, kick off my shoes, and there we go. Right, I'll see you in Joburg. Good night. Right, time to look at the boot space. Now you're probably thinking, oh, all the seats are going to destroy the boot space, but no, this is not the case. I would have liked this to be motorized though. This is not great. But if you're not vertically gifted, you can always yank on this and to open and close. But remember guys, it's not a Cars.co.za review unless we have the budget cooler boxes. As you can see, we've got 3 across. We've put our camera case here to show some height. And if we can do that, I will say that 6 cooler boxes quite easily, but remember that you can sacrifice some of the 3rd row legroom for additional space. Very clever, very practical, and very well thought out boot and 3rd row load area. This is the 2nd row of seats in their Kia Carnival. Now, as you can see, this is not one unit. You have individual seats in the SXL spec. These are known as captain's chairs, and I like them. I mean, they've got these really nice armrests, something that the Ford doesn't have. Now, as cool as the captain chair concept is, I have reservations about comfort. See, I'm seated very low down, so even if I try extend my feet, I'm not using the entire base of the seat. But if I could recline, yeah, that's not bad. This is not bad. Knee room is pretty good. Headroom, oh, it's a little on the tight side. I'd have to adjust my position and kind of slouch down to actually enjoy the most of it. But if I try to sit up normally in a normal position, yeah, my head is up against the ceiling. So look, tall guy problems. So if I had to pick a winner in terms of comfort and 2nd row practicality, the win goes to the Ford. But please, the Kia is not disgraced whatsoever, and it redeems itself by having its own pano roof. You can get a sunroof in the Ford, but it's part of a $6,000 pack, which includes a better audio system and so on. But right now, this is a really nice place to be. I've got my own climate controls, got my own vents over here, I've got a 12-volt adapter, and cleverly, there's some USB ports in these passenger seats. So I can just do that, and if I want more space, I can move the passenger seat forward. So if I'm sitting in this seat and the person in front of me has got all the room, I can make even more room for myself. And one of the nice things to have, privacy. Right, so now we've got a pretty simple test. I'm going to jump into the 3rd row while not leaving the vehicle. So up goes the armrest. Let's try to do this in a dignified manner. Okay, can I actually sit behind myself? Where's my seatbelt? Cool, and I'm ready for a road trip. There we go. This is all right. Well, headroom is not great. You know what, guys? I can make this work just. It's a tight squeeze. I don't think I want to be in here for 6 hours, but yeah, I think these 3rd row of seats are best suited for the little ones. Adults, you're in the front row or the 2nd row, little ones in the back here. Knee room, my knees are touching the back of the seat in front of me and my head is up on the headrest. But it's not all doom and gloom. I've got my own climate control vent and I have officially the world's smallest privacy blind. There we go. That'll stop the world coming through. Got some nice cup holders. I would have liked some USB ports. I can't see anything there, so I guess I'm gonna have to pass my phone to the passengers in front of me. It's not the best, but also it's not the worst. And now it's time to see the boot space of the Kia Carnival. Automated tailgate is always a good start. Right, let's get in under here. Okay, as you can see, this boot is really deep, but remember that this has come at the expense of a spare wheel. So if you're doing long journeys, think about that. If you have a flat tire, there's no spare wheel, and then you have to test out the road assist. Right, back to the boot test. As you can see, we've got 3 cooler boxes over here, our trusty budgets, as always. Right, now because it's deep, I reckon we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Job done. That's really practical. You can put a lot of cargo in here. Now, if visuals can't quite convey how deep this is, allow me to be a practical human example. It's like a hot tub. But the Kia Carnival is not done. It's saying, hold my tea, hold my coffee, I have more cool party tricks. I want to show you what these seats can do. So, one hand, grab that, pull, flat and stowed. Right, grab this one, flat, stowed. Now you have a 4-seater with so much space. Just how much space exactly? Done. Now let's talk about the money. And guys, I'll be honest, I can't beat around the bush here. Buses, MPVs, call them what you will, they are quite expensive, and you will need R1 million to get behind something like this. Now, if you're shopping in this segment, what else is available? So if I go through Cars.co.za's comparison tool, you can look at things like the Toyota Quantum VX. Not the taxi that we see every day, but the VX version. You don't see many of them on the road. They are really plush and premium. You can also look at things like the Hyundai Staria, the Volkswagen Transporter. You can also look at things like the Mercedes-Benz Vito. And if you have the big bucks to spend, well, I think there's only one real choice, is there? And that's the Mercedes-Benz V-Class. Pricing for those starts with a 2, and it's quite frightening how expensive the V300 diesel has become. And also consider the flagship Volkswagen Transporter, you know, the good old-fashioned combi. But we're trying to keep things reasonably priced today. So 1.2 million rand gets you in the Kia Carnival and the Ford Tourneo Titanium. Now, in a typical Cars.co.za review, we used to do an acceleration test. We throw it around corners. But for this segment, dynamics take a backseat. See what I did there? See what I did there? This is all about comfort, driving position, refinement, and okay, maybe a little bit of in-gear acceleration. So now I've devised a little test. So now what I've done for this little test is we're on a section of national road, speed limit 120. I'm going to activate the radar guided cruise control. There we go. And I'm going to sit at 90 k's an hour, and my phone, which is on a mount, I'm now going to measure the road noise and quietness. So we're doing 90 k's an hour. And if I look down and I keep quiet, okay, it's fluctuating between 60 and 68 decibels. So that's a good start. That's a pretty quiet, refined ride. But at which point you're going, so what is the engine actually like? Let's talk about performance and economy. Now, a big bus needs a big diesel engine, and Kia, when it did the facelift for the Carnival, they changed a number of things, but the good news is they kept the powertrain exactly the same. It's a 2.2 litre turbocharged diesel 4-cylinder, 8-speed automatic gearbox driving the front wheels. Outputs 148 kilowatts, 440 Newton meters. And they don't really claim a 0 to 100, but I reckon this is good for 0 to 100 in under 10 seconds. But of far more importance is the economy and efficiency, because for me, I see these as ultimate road trip vehicles. I mean, this is a car you can sit comfortably on the open road to your holiday destination with your family. Let me get these economy and efficiency numbers out. So Kia says the Carnival's got a 72-litre tank for diesel. They claim 6.7 litres per 100. Now, if I do some little maths in my head, I reckon that's just over 1,000 kilometers of range between top-ups. That's really impressive if you're hitting the open road. But 6.7 is the claim. What is it like in the real world? Now, experience has told us that claimed and reality are usually quite far different. Now, if I look at the trip computer, if I go to the since last reset, okay, right now we're averaging 8.4 liters per 100, and this car has done 732 kilometers in its life. But I would just like to point out that cameraman Shaun, he was the lucky man who drove this Carnival to the shoot location this morning, and he said, I drove it nicely, I had it in eco mode, and I wasn't hurrying about, we were on time, and I was averaging in the low 6s. So in terms of efficiency, a big diesel still delivers. Now, when it comes to features, the SXL, that's the flagship of the facelifted Carnival range, and at this price point, you're expecting a lot of stuff, and to a degree, you're getting it. I mean, I've got some really nice things at the moment. There's cold air blowing onto my lower back, which is nice as we're going into spring. For the winter months, there's heated steering, heated seats. Those are really nice to have. There's a Bose sound system, and I'm a big fan of good tunes, so if you like your music, you're going to appreciate that Bose sound system. In terms of connectivity and safety tech, I've got a really crisp, clear head-up display in front of me, and I've got this really nicely designed infotainment and instrument cluster. It's neatly integrated. It looks like a skateboard. Really cool. Got a minimalist theme going on, but I appreciate things like wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Guys, you know how much I rely on Waze and my Spotify and so on. So wireless connectivity and hands-free calling, always a bonus. In terms of options, I like to unpack and research exactly what you're getting for your money, and there's just one option, and that's the choice of paint. And you're in for 2,700 Rand for paint. There's no standard paint, you have to pay extra for paint, which I think is a bit cheeky. But it is what it is. The rest of the package, I think, is very comprehensive. You're getting all the bells and whistles, getting a great engine, and I think perceived build quality is pretty good too. In terms of safety features, I'm happy with the Carnival's loadout. 7 airbags, it's got lane keeping assist, it's got the assisted steer, it's got autonomous emergency braking, it's got rear cross traffic alerts. I'm really happy. I mean, I feel like this car could pretty much drive itself, though we're not trying that yet. I also appreciate things like when I indicate, there's a little camera that pops up on the dashboard, so I can check if there's anything in my blind spot. Now, I know this video is all about practicality and what's going on behind here, but I would like to just point to that because of its underpinnings, you know, the Kia Sorento, the Hyundai Staria, the Hyundai Tucson, Kia Sportage, that platform is also here. So while the Carnival is a bus, it doesn't drive like a bus. This seating position is really nice. I'm upright, and of course the seats are adjustable in multiple directions, but it doesn't feel like I'm driving a bus. It hides its commercial nature really well. I'd also like to compliment Kia. Kia's not seen as a premium brand, but the pricing is premium, yes, but they can actually deliver a standard specification loadout, lots of gadgets here in a really nice, well-built package. When it comes to pricing and after sales, Kia Carnival SXL, 1.3 million Rand, or just under that, pricing on your screen right now. After sales and warranty, that is a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty. Now, I remember the days when Kia actually had a 7-year warranty, but I think they've dropped it just a little bit. In terms of maintenance plan, it's a 6-year, 90,000 kilometer offering. So this is not bad. I've been impressed with what the Carnival brings to the table. It drives not like a bus. I'm going to treat it as a very long SUV, punchy engine, but I think it's now time to drive the Ford. Let's see if it can hide its van base. Now, first things first, first impressions. Yep, there's no mistaking that the origins of this vehicle are definitely commercially biased. It's unmistakably a bus. I'm seated very high up, and I feel like I'm seated quite far forward, but I'm comfy. The steering setup is great. This is cool. Yep, this is cool. And now it's time for our informal on-road cruising refinement test. So I've got my phone down here and I've got the sound meter active. I'm going to set the cruise control to 90 and let's see how much noise is coming through the cabin in terms of refinement. Sure, well, I'm seeing a lot of 65s to 69s. So I'm going to say, and while this is not totally scientific, I just think it's a nice frame of reference, I'm going to say the Kia Carnival wins oh so slightly in terms of quietness and open road cruising comfort. Now, when it comes to performance, there are some driving modes on offer, but they're not easily accessible. So I have to kind of go take my eyes off the road here. Not great. Is it features? Drive modes. And then I have normal, eco, sports, slippery, tow and haul. So we'll just put it into sports. And for me, like I've mentioned with the Kia, these cars are not designed for 0 to 100 or being thrown around racetracks. They're designed for just open road cruising comfort. But for me, the critical metric for dynamics is the overtaking ability. So I'm going to just slow down to 100 and let's see how quickly it can change down and get me to the national speed limit. So that's 100, foot flat. Okay, that was 2 gear changes. 112, 115, 120. Okay, so I'm going to say it's not as responsive as the Kia, but it doesn't hesitate. So it eventually picks up speed and gets going. But it's worth noting that the highest spec models of the Tourneo range have a bit more power and a bit more torque. We tested the entry-level Tourneo, and that, on the open road when fully laden, definitely feels underpowered. So I'm happy to report these Tourneos, the higher spec models, are the ones to have purely based on the additional in-gear performance. And let's talk about this engine. It's a 2-liter single turbocharged diesel 4-cylinder, 125 kilowatts, 390 newton meters, 8-speed auto front wheel drive. Do you need more? Well, I think if you're towing, you need a bit more, but right now I think this is adequate. Now, how does the Ford Tourneo fare on the open road when it comes to economy and efficiency? Now, there's an 80-liter fuel tank, and Ford claims 7.4 liters per 100. That takes it also to a claimed theoretical endurance range of just over 1,000 kilometers. Now, let's see what the trip computer has been saying, and it's averaging 9.5. That seems to me that it's a little bit heavier, possibly because of the aerodynamics. I mean, let's be real, this thing is large. It doesn't cleanly slip through the air like the sleek Kia, so I do think the aerodynamics are hindering the economy a bit. 9.5, I think on the open road, if you drove it in eco and stayed at about 100, I think you would see much better economy figures. But I think when it comes to efficiency and economy, I think the Kia edges it for now. Now, I've already touched on the seating position, like it's quite high up. So there's no hiding the commercial roots of this vehicle. And let me just remind you that this vehicle and the Volkswagen Transporter T7 range, that is part of the commercial arrangement signed between Volkswagen and Ford. Amarok, Ranger, anyone? Fundamentally the same car. They've just tweaked the styling, they've just tweaked the software, and you basically got the same product with different badges on. And perceived build quality, I like it. I like the instrument cluster. It's nice minimalist. I've got these cute colors on my driving themes. I've got eco, nice little pastel green. I've got sport, it's a bit orange. And there's this really nice big infotainment system. And of course, at this price point, wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay, heated seats. It is lovely in here. Now, the titanium spec for the Ford Tourneo is the flagship model, so you'd think it comes with all the requisite bells and whistles and gadgets and luxury features, and to a degree it does. But Ford offers something called the Tourneo Luxe Pack, and it's about $6,000, and that adds really cool things like a pano roof that goes from about my head to the third row. That's really awesome. It also adds ambient lights, a 14-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, so if you're an audiophile and you want to listen to your favorite tracks really loudly, I would suggest looking at that. It also comes with something called the Mobile Office. Now, I've done some research on this, and I've discovered that the Ford, the Tourneo and the Transit, that is, you can actually convert the steering wheel into a desk pad. How cool is that? And you probably have noticed from the exterior shots that this vehicle comes with roof racks, and those are an optional extra, and those are about 1,500 Rand. We're going to put pricing of all the optional extras on your screen now. In terms of warranty and after sales, Ford offers the Tourneo with a 4-year, 120,000 kilometer warranty, and a service plan is a 6-year, 90,000 K service. But there's a but here. Now, if you read the fine print and you go into Ford.co.za, they'll also say that the service plan is optional extra. It's part of the whole right to repair arrangement. Now, for you, the consumer, and to our dealership friends, this is an opportunity for leverage, because if the service plan is optional and there's the ability to extend the service maintenance plan, now people have leverage. So you can say, well, we can sweeten this deal for you if we give you the service plan and we extend it a bit on. And if you're a consumer, you can say, well, I'm only going to buy this if you give me the service plan and then extend it for a couple of years. So there's some decent consumer advice if you're wanting to buy this. The car does come with a good warranty, but extend that service plan. That is your bargaining tool. Right, let's talk money. So we're going to have pricing of the Ford Tourneo range on your screen right now. As I've mentioned, this is the titanium flagship. You can get into one of these from 1.26 million, but when you compare it to the Carnival, that's about 36 grand less than the big Korean bus. So this now then begs the question, which is the better car? I think we need to be outside the car to try work out which is the winner. Right, we've reached the point of the video where I need to decide a winner, but it's not that simple because these two vehicles are quite different in execution. If you want something that's premium, 7 seats, drives like an SUV, at a premium that is, go for the Kia. But if you want something that's ultra practical but drives like a bus, go for the Ford. In my time at Cars.co.za, we've never experienced something that's so practical, so versatile as this Ford. Those seats, the configurations, the flexibility, that's unheard of. There's almost unlimited possibilities. You could take the seats out, you can make it a van, or you can carry 8 people. The choice is up to you. But you're gonna go, Dave, you need to pick a winner. And right now I look at the time and go, oh, it's late in the day, it's almost dinner time. I want to get home quickly and I want to listen to my favorite tunes. So right now, for the point of this exercise, I'm going to take the Kia home because it's slightly faster as well. And that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed exploring what these two bring to the MPV segment. And remember, Cars.co.za, we're not just a YouTube channel. We have 86,000 vehicles for sale. You can get these two both new and used, plus all the other rivals available new and used on our site. We've got hatchbacks, SUVs, double cab buckies, and everything in between. I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.
Let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.
Hello, you join me and my Fern in the Cars.co.za Cape Town office, where I have been asked to tell you about our new quick search feature in our app. Now, if you don't have our app, it's been downloaded by over 2 million South Africans, completely free. It's in any app store that you use. Go ahead and get it right now. And we've just launched a very cool new feature. It's a first in South Africa. So it's basically plain English search. And this is how it works. You open the app and in the quick search bar, you just type what you're looking for. So BMW X3 Silver Gauteng, and then bang, hit, I've misspelled Gauteng. Then hit search and we pre-populate all those filters for you so you don't have to fiddle, and then you get, of all the 72,000 cars on our site, all the silver X3s in Gauteng for you to choose from. That's actually quite clever. I didn't know it could do that. Should probably read my emails sometimes.